Rita Gehman, and I'm an intuitive coach, and this video is about the intuitive feeler personality type combination. When you're dealing with an intuitive feeler, it's so interesting. It is so interesting being around an intuitive feeler because the way they speak tends to be a little bit stream of consciousness. They'll say things that you would not consider to be normal for somebody to say, that you would consider to be something that you would only think in your head, but you wouldn't actually say it out in public and around people. They tend to speak out loud, speak out loud from their subconscious. Intuitive feelers, it's an esoteric trait. It's an esoteric trait combined with another esoteric trait. So this is a very mutable quality, and these people are, they're very interesting. They, an intuitive feeler, the way they speak tends to be stream of consciousness, kind of like when you turn on a radio for a little bit and then you turn it off, and then you turn it on a little bit later. Well, the song may be playing, but it's playing at the end, rather, there's a gap there. So when they speak, they tend to speak, when they speak, they tend to speak from whatever their stream of consciousness is saying right then, and then they'll turn it off, and then later on they'll speak again, and it's again what their stream of consciousness is saying right at that moment. And so there's a lot of gap, and you're not able to necessarily see the connection, And they tend to say comments that you're like, it's a little bit too honest for you. You're almost like, oh God, you did not just say that. Don't you understand about social protocol? But intuitive feelers are really, really, they're amazing people. That having an esoteric plus esoteric trait, combination, it makes you kind of view the world in a very. They tend to be both water, or air energy type of people, or a combination of both. Their energy flows, or it swirls, but it tends to. I've never met an intuitive feeler who had a solid energy pattern. Their energy pattern has always been, there's tree energy, and there's earth energy, and there's metal energy, and there's fire energy, and fire energy is slightly moving, but really water and air are the two that move the most. And when you have an intuitive feeler, you tend to combination. You tend to have somebody with water or air energy. I've never seen an intuitive feeler who didn't have water or air energy. So let me get my band adjusted here. So it tends to be something that when you look at it from the outside, looking in, you're kind of thinking, that's really constantly shifting. I mean, are people ever going to be at home and stuff like that? But that's actually not the problem. An intuitive feeler, because their subdominant traits are solid traits, both of their subdominant traits are solid traits, they actually tend to like their environment to not be moving at all, because they need to be able to move within their environment without, if their environment is also moving, it would be like water on top of water, or air on top of air. It would be too changing. It would be too shifting. So people tend to like the subdominant traits, whatever your subdominant trait happens to be. People tend to like their subdominant traits to be like not shifting very much. People who are sensets, they tend to prefer their intuition, which has to do with energy shifts. They tend to prefer for their energy patterns to not go way up and way down and really fast and really slow all throughout one day. Intuitives are able to handle that because that's our mecca, but sensets, not so much. So that's an example of just how people tend to, and as I'm an intuitive person, and as that, I tend to like my environment to be very, very stiff and unmoving. I don't like changes in my environment. I sense that to have changes in their environment, and they would enjoy it, and they would be able to manipulate it, and they would feel really comfortable with that. But with me, I like my energy pattern. I like my energy to be able to go up and down and do different things, but I don't like my environment, my things that I'm using my five senses on. I don't like that to change. I like that to be really solid and really predictable every day, over and over and over again. So an intuitive feeler is going to feel like that as well. Not only that, but they're going to feel like that about the thinker traits. They like their logic and their precision to be constant. They don't like people to mess up and down with logic and rationality and use it in all these different ways. They like to know that, okay, this is predictable, this is logical, I understand this, this is what I know, and that's it. Um, so an intuitive feeler is going to be weak in those areas, but they're going to be really strong in areas that involve any kind of energy pattern shift and any kind of heart-based traits. Heart-based traits, things like uh, emotional strength to be able to handle things emotionally. They exercise their emotional muscles, so they tend to be there are certain things they can't be attacked emotionally because they have this kind of a cushion around them that protects them from that. And intuitive feelers, they also, since they're dominant in their energy patterns, somebody can't attack them energetically either uh, because they're dominant in that trait as well. So they're able to kind of fight fire with fire when it comes to that. So intuitive feelers, they're very mutable, shifting, changing creatures. But they like to live in an environment that's very solid and factual, and they tend to like to be around sunset thinkers that are very solid people. So intuitive feelers, they're wonderful creatures. I've always enjoyed talking to them. It's so interesting listening to their stream of consciousness kind of conversation. It's sometimes hard to follow, but I love it anyway. I don't care. And so intuitive feelers are really appreciated by me, and I've always loved and enjoyed the intuitive feelers that I've ever met. I love you guys. Please subscribe below, and I'll see you on the other side.